Fellas, welcome to the Extra Point. We missing one member of the squad today, but I've got Coach Cofield and Eddie Quinkins Jr. on. I am Mark Adams. And man, it's time to get into another edition of the Extra Point podcast. If you're looking for some high school football along the I-10 corridor, you're in the right spot. I think we got 17 counties covered, all the way from Walton, all the way back, all the way over to Columbia. We got everything in between coming at you this week. And man, it was another impact weekend for Florida State. Doak Campbell was rocking. I was surprised it was sold out for East Texas A&M.
And the tickets might have been sold.
Yeah,
it might have had a lot of tickets, but I saw some seats. Maybe that was just in the second quarter when everybody decided the game was over. It was over in the first quarter. It was over in the first quarter.
Definitely was a sold out crowd, and I think the team is. I think all of Seminole Nation is just really excited for what they saw recently with Alabama. The team is climbing up in the rankings now at number 10 in the nation, and they're going into their bye week now. And one thing I liked about the game was good old Tommy was able to throw the deep ball in this one a lot more, and hopefully he'll do so again after the bye week when they get ready to take on Kent State coming up.
Man, it feels normal again. Seeing Florida State in the top 10, the offense looks good, defense played lights out. I think I saw it, and it took me a while. I had to squint my eyes, but I said, I know that guy. And sure enough, I looked down on the field, and finally, one of our guys, let me go ahead and pull it up. There you go, right there. Michael Grant took the field, led a really impressive drive, too, for the Noles. Marched him down the field, and then, of course, running back was able to take it in. But, man, that was special. Ryan Kelly captured it on Twitter, WCTV, but I didn't know Michael Grant's grandfather was one of the first quarterbacks at Florida State. But, man, that was a good moment to see a McClay alum once again in the Garden and Gold. But this time at the quarterback position, and he looked pretty sharp.
Special moment, man, indeed. They have a name for these athletes who go to Florida State when their parents were also part of the program and everything. I think it's called a legacy kid, so legacy. So it's pretty cool and an awesome moment, truly. Yes, granted, it was East Texas A&M, but still, it's a moment that definitely him and his family will cherish. But that was awesome.
Yeah, you had to stick around. It was late in the game, but he was able to kind of get some action. That was a pretty cool moment. I thought that was awesome to be able to see somebody we had really been keying in on for the past 3 or 4 seasons, covering McClay football, but being able to see him on the sideline. I know his parents were going crazy, but it was a good moment. FSU looked really dominant. Really dominant. This is a team, I think. It's crazy to think that it was only a couple of years ago that they had, pretty much the same kind of offensive production with Jordan Travis. The 2-10 season was just so abysmal. It just felt like there was no life in that program, and for Mike Norvell to turn it around at this point, and then the Noles back in the top 10, it's starting to feel like normal again. To me, the biggest thing now is just, can they stay healthy? Because they got a huge matchup against Miami in a couple of weeks. If everybody can stay fresh, man, I don't think you're going to be able to find an Airbnb in Tallahassee, let alone a hotel room.
I'm really looking forward to that, man. It's back in the day when the Canes and the Seminoles, one of the biggest games in the country, and looked like they're both headed there. I guess the South Florida might have something to say about it, but it should be an interesting time in Tallahassee, man. Everybody needs to stay in that weekend because there ain't going to be no room to drive around.
Man,
Absolutely
USF went into the swamp and knocked off the Gators. Billy Napier on that hot seat for real. You just took it was already a little warm before the season started, but you felt like there was some hope and promise for the Gator fans. But, man, they just took that hot seat and threw it in the microwave.
They actually, in my opinion, I thought they had the game pretty still under their control, even in that final drive for USF. but a penalty in the worst way imaginable gave USF the extra boost that was needed in that final game-winning drive to move down the field and for Grammatica to get the game-winning field goal. It's definitely another signature moment in USF football history now. And you're right. For Florida, it does not get any easier for their head coach now that they're getting into the toughest part of their schedule. You got to get ready for LSU in Death Valley, and then you're gonna have at Miami.
At Miami.
After that, so man,
now, when you play on a team that you're supposed to beat, you got to get them out of the way. You can't let them hang around. You got to knock them off, put them away, because the longer they hang around, it's in their favor because they get a lot of confidence and they be looking for things. They're looking to take the game. They knew they were close, and if they had to win on a field goal, they felt really good about Grammatica, which is a name that's prominent in the state of Florida, especially for kickers.
We met him because Nico Grammatica is a True North alum, which played McClay a couple of seasons ago.
Yep.
So we actually had a chance to see him in person before the game winner. So, one of those, small world kind of instances right there. But for USF, man, they haven't created, to me, in my opinion, they haven't been this relevant since BJ Daniels was quarterback.
Oh wow. Is it?
That was a long time.
I still think that the AP poll has been such a joke lately. For a lot of these voters, I don't think they're watching the games because they still have USF unranked, and it's getting kind of ridiculous now. I don't think a lot of these AP voters are paying attention.
I thought they moved up to 18.
Yeah, they did move up to 18, but it's just a lot of the teams in the AP poll. I don't think a lot of these voters are watching. I really don't.
They not. I think they showed evidence of that because some of the teams didn't even drop. They lost. And they made a big deal about it this week. Yeah, it's kind of tough.
And look how far they gave Alabama a little bit of some grace on how far they dropped in the rankings after Florida State beat them in week 1. You went from number 8 all the way to 21, when in reality, a loss to an unranked team either got you out of the top 25 or borderline close to being out of it at like number 25 or 24. And people were saying that USF should have been in the AP top 25 after they beat Boise State in week 1. And look at it now. It took them having to beat Florida to get in when they should have been in already. So I agree with you. I don't think a lot of these these committees are watching the games like they should.
I think that's the benefit of the playoff poll, because these people actually sit down and watch, and their coaches, athletic directors, people that are in the business, and they pick the teams. The only time I really disagreed with them was when they kicked FSU out because they didn't have Jordan Travis there, and which I think shouldn't matter. A team, you're supposed to be for your team, but I think it all work itself out as far as the polls, because everybody playing for the playoffs now. It don't matter where you rank. You get in if you get in the tournament. You get in the tournament. If you win all your games, you champs.
I think it has a lot to do with just when these games are being played. Because for me, I get it. You're not going to stay up on the East Coast to watch, USC take on Hawaii or anything like that. So I do understand to a certain degree. But I do think you got the wrong people voting. You're going to have to create a different criteria, in my opinion, because you do have a lot of local bias, a lot of recency bias. And unfortunately, I just think it has corrupted the system a little bit. I don't think you're really getting a clear picture on because honestly, when it comes to the playoff selection committee, the first thing they're going to look at is the AP poll.
Yeah, and I think it's like you gentlemen said, I think what the AP and even USA Today, the coaches poll, you just need to find good football-minded coaches, former players, alumni that are willing to be a part of this system and to be fair to all people that know the game. And that's just been very tough to, I guess, get out of these ranking systems in the past 25 plus. No, actually, for all of college football. Let's just be for honest. This goes all the way back to the mid 1980s. I mean, Coach Gofield, you already know. I mean,
wait a minute, hold on.
I'm just saying.
It's been like that, man. You at least before now, you didn't get in. You might go undefeated, but if they pick the team that with a lighter schedule, with a big resume, they go all the way. They're the champs. It doesn't really matter, and at least you win it on the field. That's my, bump the polls. Let's get this thing right because they close to being right. When you got like 12 positions, I think they should move it to 16 myself, and let it chips fall where they may. If I get in the tournament, I got a good football team, and stop. I think they seeding it now as opposed to just giving automatic buys to teams. But if you get in the tournament, you got a chance. All you got to do is win.
Yeah. There's a lot that's going to be different in this new landscape, and I think that there's going to be a lot of shakeups. But unfortunately, man, the system we're in at FHSA ain't a whole lot better either. So, I mean, you can say what you want to, but there's never going to be a perfect system. But you do want to see at least parity, and you definitely want to see some fairness in a system that's so important because you honestly. That's millions of dollars on the line for a lot of schools' programs.
And if you keep this same route that you're going now, you're gonna have schools eventually leave FHSAA to want to do better for their program and so on. And that's why you have a lot of schools somewhat transitioning over to the SSAA, the Sunshine State Athletic Association, which, yeah, they're independent, but you'll be surprised at the big names that they have in that association that you haven't heard of in a long time, like American Heritage from Delray Beach, Jupiter Christian, Glades Day, who used to be a 2B, 1B powerhouse back when I was growing up. And now newcomers, like new members now, Clewiston and Hardee, from what I heard, just got in there. So, yeah, definitely want to get some changes going. Better sooner than later. That's all I'm going to just say, sooner than later.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into some week number 3 football. Man, it was they call it BTA, and it's built to I ain't gonna say it, but man, there were some beatdowns. There were some beatdowns across the board. Let's go ahead and pull up the week number 3 scoreboard, and it was, some of these games. I do feel like we had a chance to watch what felt like the contenders really separating themselves. A lot of teams really look good, but the points that were put up between Rickards and Mosley, I didn't expect it to be that high of a scoring affair, but man, I think that was 90-something points plus between Rickards and Mosley. There was offense all over the place. I know both defenses had to be tired, but at the end, it was Mosley coming out on top. 55-41 over the Raiders. And, really for the Dolphins, I do think that there really is a kind of a nucleus there in that system that they have between their offensive unit, their quarterback, even though he's replacing a prolific passer from a season ago. He looks really comfortable. We talked about Adam Land. They have another tight end. I don't think there's a team anywhere that has 2 prolific tight ends. They were really spreading the Raiders defense out, and they were able to just pull away from what Rickards was doing. I think if this was any other team, I think Rickards was walking away with a victory at home. But Mosley came in determined, and to me, I think you got to give credit to the Mosley defense. They really stepped up when they had to, shut down Kelly on a couple of drives when he was really looking to sustain things. And unfortunately for the Raiders, it's kind of one of those things where you're almost there. You're almost there. A couple of drives, a turnover here, and you're right back in the mix of things. But Raiders fall to 1-2, and Mosley improves to 2-1. And this was a game where, for at least three and a half quarters, they look evenly matched.
Yeah, like we were talking before the show, it was 34-33, and Mosey took the ball and scored, and then kicked the onside kick, and really never looked back after that. Uh, it was a I watched it. I watched pretty much the whole game. It was offense all over the field. I mean, players making great plays, big plays all over. Lamb was just unbelievable. He was open all night long. Ricketts had no answer for him. Uh, they moved the ball and did pretty much what they want against the Ricketts defense. I mean, when you put up 55 points, it's not easy. People think a lot of times you get blowouts. It is not easy to score that many points. So uh, hats off to the Mosley Dolphins as they beat my alma mater. I was really looking forward to the game. It was a great matchup, but hey, you have to give them their props.
Yeah, respect all around. This game had a Big 12 conference feeling to it when I was watching the highlights. Yeah, Kelly with a total of 3 touchdowns in the game, and if you look at it on the box score, Mosley pretty much outperformed Rickards in the second and third quarter. Rickards found a way to get back into the game, but by then it was already too late. Mosley had built a good enough lead to hold on. You look at the total yards in offense. I think in receiving yards, Rickards had 272, but Mosley 351. And Mosley also outperformed Rickards in the total rushing yards with 160, and the Raiders with 97, close to 100. So this was just an offensive fest. I really thought at one point, Rickards was going to find a way to come back in the game. I really did. But yeah, this Mosley team shows determination that they will do any means necessary to win. And the same could be said for Rickards too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
this.
see Lamb right there wide open.
I
Wow.
mean, he was all. I mean, all you heard all night was land, 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 and I'm like, man, dude, somebody go and check that guy. At least put 2 people on him or something. And it's hard to double team a tight end though. It's very hard to do that. But he had. I don't know if he could ever have a game as good as he had today. I mean, that night it was unbelievable.
Yeah, there to me, a lot of what I saw Mosley do was not difficult. It was just pitch and catch, and I think Rickards they looked out of place in some sequences. I think they were really trying to key in on the running game because that's what really, in my opinion, that's what upended them last year's matchup. So, but when you key in on the run and you try to, sell out on that, you leave yourself open, of course, for a lot, especially a lot of seam routes, which is what Mosley did for the most of the night. And it wasn't complicated, but you could see the screens here. You got wide receivers blocking downfield, and before you know it, that's a 30-yard gain. And unfortunately for your defense, it just keeps you on your heels all night long. And I don't think the Raiders ever, fell back into sync. They were kind of playing back and forth and just a whole lot of catch up the entire night.
Yeah, Mark, when you get behind and the team and it gets anxious, it's like we gotta score, we can't stop them. So you do stuff, you might take chances you might not normally do. You can't play conservative when you get behind. When you fall behind by 2 touchdowns in the second half, I mean that's a difficult thing to overcome.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's keep it rolling with the Dolphins. That's a huge win for them. I really felt like it was both teams were coming off of what I felt like, just not where they wanted to start the season. But again, Raiders fall to 1-2. Mosley improves to 2-1. Childs, a monster win over Wakulla down in Crawfordville. And, the War Eagles really, we expected there to be just a lot of youth. A lot of times, when you graduate, a lot of talent, but a lot of those guys are still growing up a little bit. And Childs just took advantage. Childs is one of those teams. Number one, they're well coached. So this is give tip of the cap to Coach Reagan's. He's going to make sure his kids are ready as long as they are, in my position, in my opinion, as long as they are willing to put up the fight. this team can sneak up on you, especially if you let them hang around. And that's exactly what happened in Crawfordville last Friday as the Timberwolves come away with a monster win, 23-21 over Wakulla. And don't look now, but like Childs is still a threat. Especially in their district, I definitely think that they have some weapons. The offensive line looked really good in protection, and they ate clock when they needed to, and I think that just kind of put them in position to really win the game. In most instances, you're looking for key guys to step up and create a takeaway, some sort of turnover. But Childs kind of really just controlled the clock. They held the ball when they needed to, and they were able to put up points when it really mattered.
Man, can you imagine? I would not. It's been a minute since I've seen a 1-2 Wakulla team. That is something unusual. They lost two games in a row at home.
Yes,
that is unbelievable. I've been watching football for a long time, and that I bet you we checked that. That's a rare occasion for them to lose 2 home games to be 1-2. Charles, I'm not surprised that they went in there and took care of business. They're playing very solid football. They're gonna have good defense because Coach Reagan is all about defense, and they got a solid offense. They're putting points on the board, and all you gotta do is get one more point than the other team, and to be able to go into Wakulla and win a football game, man, that is a tough task for any team. And look like Charles is on the right track.
Yeah, I'm with the wise man right here on this one. Yes, for like almost a decade now, these teams have played each other annually now, and every time they've played, it's been a close game. It's been decided by either 1 or 2 scores. I think Childs in this game, I don't know what part it was, if it was early or mid part in the game, they had a blocked field goal that led to a touchdown to kind of get them going in this matchup. And yeah, gentlemen, like you said, JD Jones Stadium is not an easy place to play in nor win. And it is unorthodox that we see the War Eagles right now at 1-2, historically speaking, knowing differently of who they are and their tradition and legacy of a team.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that Childs has done pretty well, and again, this is going back to the coaching staff at Childs. They find a way to get to know who their opponents are, and I think that's one of the reasons why they were able to kind of sneak up on things in a couple of the wins that they have had. Pelham they dominated, and that was kind of in my opinion, that was the medicine they needed to kind of jumpstart the engine a little bit. But being able to go into Wakulla and get a win, that really says a lot. I think that, for the most part, you kind of expect things to be in a position where, you just kind of want to see who your team is. You want to be able to figure out your identity, quickly. You want to be able to understand who's going to be your playmakers and, kind of who your senior leaders are. But this team is going to have a lot of momentum going into their next several games. These 2 wins are kind of what you want to be able to, because you understand what it's like when you can start off the season with 2 or 3 wins under your belt going into that middle part where you're facing your district opponents, your rivals, and you can see Childs. They're not playing conservative. They're taking their shots downfield. Playmakers are stepping up, and so a lot of these unknown names that we really don't know too well, we're going to have to get to know them because Childs has enough playmakers to be able to hang around with quite a few teams in the area.
Yeah, Mark, they looking at what they've done the past couple of weeks. When you get that one victory, you want another one, and then you play somebody that it's been a great matchup with Wakulla and Childs, and they got in there and in front of that crowd and took it to them, and they won the game, and which is unusual. I've been around a long time, and it's to be 1-2 for Wakulla is unbelievable. But I'm sure Coach Cleese will get that corrected. But my hat's off to Childs. They're doing a good job. They lost some They lost their quarterback from last year. He transferred to Lincoln, Jacobs, and somehow they found a replacement, and they're doing the job.
Yeah, still a solid team. I really was impressed with the offensive line they protected when they had to. This to me is kind of where this could be the beginning of some pieces coming together for the Timberwolves. But a solid win down in Crawfordville definitely puts them back into what I would say just in a great spot early here in the season. And for the most part, when you take a look at a couple of other things that kind of tell the story. Um, Childs really they pitched the shutout in the third quarter, which was pretty crucial. Um, I did kind of feel like there were some things that just kind of stood out to me, especially on the defensive side, because being able to have your quarterback go 12 of 16, Gavin Ford, um, was really solid. You don't want to do anything to uh, kind of get out of sync with your team, but man, look at the rushing yards. Gerald Clark put up 150 on the ground. Uh, you had, I think that was Cade Fryer and Jeremiah Cadet led both of those guys led the receiving unit, 62 yards apiece. It was just a solid night. You don't really have to do a whole lot unless you're, not being consistent. But Childs was definitely consistent. Being able to hold Wakulla on the ground to 70 yards rushing, that to me was the tail of the tape. Um, just being able to have those guys step up defensively and bottle up guys. But Owen Clee still was able to do some damage, 35 of 51 for 425.
Mhm.
This is one of the top area passes in the league. If he can kind of find, if Wakulla can find a way to fix the other side of the offense and get some movement on the ground, this could be a pretty dangerous team in the future. But for
Mhm.
now, it was man. Timberwolves had a solid win, and that was I think that in my opinion that turned a lot of heads.
Most definitely.
All right, let's move around the area. NFC edges Indian Rocks Christian, man. Congrats to Kez McCorvey. Got two in a row as a streak.
Yeah.
8-7 over Indian Rocks, and for NFC, this is one of those where they wanted to be able to kind of figure out who they were, what kind of team they are, and I think this proved it. This was a hard fought win again, and I think for NFC, they're really, in order for their program to get back into prominence again, they're going to have to grind it out with against a lot of sometimes you end up in a situation where um your program can take a little dip with talent that's not on the same level. But for NFC, I think being under Coach McCorvey definitely has them believing again. Anytime you're able to pull out some wins like this, it's definitely going to add to the momentum uh, going along the season, especially at this critical juncture where you're going into week number 4.
Well, Mark, anytime you win one game and then you win another one, you don't care what the score is. You just want to continue to win because practice is a lot easier after you win as opposed to losing. You coach, sometimes you can, the players get tired of hearing stuff from the coach if you're not winning. Well, winning those tight games, when that comes up, when winning those tight games, you're going to have a team believing all the way to the end every time they play. We can win. We can take this game, and I think they're doing that.
Yeah, I really like what um I really like the way that NFC for the most part um when they had the matchup the other week, I think that was they went down to Rocky Bayou. Was it Rocky Bayou the other week?
Oh, no,
No, it was North Bay Haven. Excuse me, North
yeah.
Bay Haven. And they just turned things over to Rozier, and he really had a monster game. Um, I think we lost Eddie for a second. Hopefully, he'll jump back in just a minute. But looking at how the schedule lines up for the Eagles, they got a huge matchup coming up against Taylor County that'll put them to the test once again. And it doesn't get easier. They go through Valwood, McClay, Franklin County will be an interesting test, and then they round out the schedule with Freeport. But the last 3 of those games are at home, so they have a favorable schedule in terms of who they get at home versus who they get on the road. But a large part of what NFC has been able to do is just kind of play their game. And Hopefully, oh, there's Eddie right there. All right.
Sorry, gentlemen.
Hey, Eddie.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Internet connection. Apologies to our viewers who may be watching. I'm still trying to comprehend this score. 8-7. I mean, how hard fought of a battle was this? I wonder if we have some highlights
Everything
of it.
looked like it was decided in the fourth, as far as what I could tell. But yeah, it was running back by committee for the Eagles, and I think they just were able to just kind of get, they pick their spots until they were able to punch it in. But Marcus Rozier once again scored the lone touchdown for the Eagles. So, for the most part, everything's running through him right now. And if it works, it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. And as I said last week, only one Eagle would emerge from this matchup, and it was the good old North Florida Christian Eagles.
All right, let's keep it rolling. This one, man, I have to talk about it because I was really I was keying in on this game. I was looking at how both teams matched up, which was it was evenly matched in my opinion. I think that the Seminoles going into a tough road environment in Hawthorne. Hawthorne is one of the premier teams in the rural classification. You really got to throw out classifications. If a team is good, they're just good. And this one was just one of those where the Seminoles, once again, I mean, the opportunities were there and they just couldn't cash in as Hawthorne takes it 33-27. And for the Noles, this is an unfamiliar territory for them. We're not used to seeing Florida High starting off 2-2 on the year.
Yeah, Coach Hickman, each year is different. I admit that it's different. And your schedule it's according to when you play some of these teams. And you catch them at the right time. And being on the road, which is tough. I had an opportunity to coach a game at Hawthorne once, and they got some their fans are off the chain. And the place when you come in there, because I think the way we went straight through Gainesville, going in, and it's right outside of Gainesville, and great place to play. Nice facility, nice people. But they wasn't the team they are now. They're winning. Every year you talk about them going for a state championship now. It's a different place, a different program. And Florida High might have just came in at the wrong time. Look at the record is they're undefeated. So you're in for a tough game. And they always, Florida High, I have to admit, they don't dodge anybody. They play a tough schedule.
Yeah, I look at it for what it's worth. A lot of what Florida High has done is build themselves for the postseason. I think that it's worked in the past, and it's a fine line because you don't want to end up where your team is so embattled where you're worried about staying healthy because you're getting beat up a lot playing a lot of the tough opponents, but them not shying away from anybody is what we kind of expected. When it comes to playoff time, it'll definitely come in handy. This is a team that's built for the postseason. We talk to Coach Hickman all the time. His team is built to play 15 games, and that's just one of those rarities where you have to go through lumps like this. Hopefully, it'll pan out for them. But looking at the game, Hawthorne, this is one of those where Hawthorne jumped out early. You can see being able to put up 27 points early, and just kind of that Florida High being methodical, they still were able to climb back into the game, but just coming down the stretch, that third quarter, being able to make those adjustments, they showed the improvement. But man, that last touchdown given up in the fourth quarter to the Hornets just kind of doomed the Seminoles' chances there. Jamie Miller, let's go ahead and talk about this guy. I mean, great night, 21-29 for 241 yards. Also had I think he had about 10 yards rushing, but Teagan Hackett there's not anything I can't say about this kid. Still was able to get $151 on the ground with 22 carries, had a pair of touchdowns. The offense was there. It just not enough defensive stops to keep up with Hawthorne. Again, anytime you give up, and it's just little things. It's a third down here. It's a punt situation there. and that proved to be the difference. Where Hawthorne, just that late score, just was just enough to be able to make the difference in the ball game.
Mark, when you're trying to come back, you can't afford to give up scores. You want to keep them close. You can't make up ground when you're giving up scores. And I think with that last score, probably like you said, put the game out of reach for Florida High. But if I'm coaching, I like what my team did. They came back. They were consistent. We scored. We continued to score. We just didn't climb the mountain and get to the top. We missed out, and I think you can build on that for the future. You can build on being able to continuously move the football. And I mean, with the stats I'm looking at, they got some guys doing some good things there, and I'm sure Coach Hickman will be able to take care of business with his kids, and he'll teach. It's all a teaching thing anyway. Good. Keep on working.
Florida High's still young. If you look at their defense, they've only got maybe 2 or 3 seniors. Most of these kids are juniors and sophomores, so this team is going to be okay. In great position. But shout out to Jason Harville, had 12 tackles on the night for the Noles. A great defensive effort. Unfortunately, just was in a losing effort for Florida High.
Yeah, I
But
think
this is a team that's going to be okay going down the stretch.
And I want to say that this was a much better performance, especially after what had happened last week in Georgia. And, you wondered how was Florida High going to, move forward after that game. And I think in this performance, you would have liked to have seen them pull away with the victory. But, they held in with a good and talented team from the rural division, Hawthorne. And I think we'll see much more of Florida High continue to progress and play better and win more, most definitely.
Yeah, the schedule for Florida High is absolutely absurd. They go into the bye this week, a much needed bye. After that, let's run it down. South Walton, another bye. Childs, Gadsden County, at Madison County, at Bishop Moore, Orlando, and then at Mosley. That's going to be that is going to be a hard road to hoe for the Noles. But this is a team that, once again, in my opinion, this is going to prove, it's going to put them in great position come playoff time, because they'll be able to kind of be battle tested. And again, with, the landscape looking a little bit different in their region, this might be what the doctor ordered for them, because this might be a team that can really turn it on if they can stay healthy. They might be able to dominate, and anything that happens in the regular season, if you fare well, it'll show up during playoff time, and it'll be to your benefit.
I agree with you, Mark, on that.
100%.
I'm looking forward to the change. I know what a tough schedule. They need this. They need this bye week. You can do a lot of teaching and getting people well. I mean, the schedule started off pretty tough, and taking a week off, man, you need it during the season. They got 2 byes, right?
Yep.
Because they
much needed byes. This is a team that's going to need a break.
Yeah, I was about to say, not many teams in the state of Florida are that fortunate to get 2 byes within the same time frame of their schedules.
Yeah, I think that first game, which would have been a kickoff classic, counted. It counted, and you're only allowed to play 10 games. So 11 weeks. What? I'm sorry, 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And you get 2 byes.
The state did work in that extra bye week, that dead period, which was much needed, because we're still hurricane season, y'all. It's Florida, anything can happen. But after the complete debacle last year, they made the much needed change.
Come on, Mark, don't bring that up.
All right, keep it rolling, man. All right, so we just gonna call week number 3 beatdown week. It was, so many lopsided scores. We saw the complete fireworks show put up by Rickards and Mosley. Mosley coming out on top, 55-41. Man, Leon takes it at home. Eddie, your alma mater, was able to get a big win over Jefferson County. Tigers still a young football team with a brand new coach, with Coach Bright. But, man, Coach Ricky Bell got win number 1 for the Lions, and it was a complete win. Leon looked really solid. They were able to really kind of break out do their thing a little bit. And, for Big
Like
Red,
to
it was kind of one of those where it was a long time coming.
Yeah. Also, a record was set. Quarterback Brooks Warmack, 6 touchdown passes, 177 yards. I think that was a school record. Not only that, 5 different players for the Lions scoring touchdowns.
Like, what was the record? The 170.
Well, I believe from what I read, according here to the Tallahassee Democrat, and I had to make sure I looked it up on Max Prep. I think I saw it 6 touchdowns in the game.
That's a record.
I believe so.
I don't know.
I don't know. I was on the end.
Hey, but I could be wrong. I
was on the end. A lot of them touchdowns. But back in the day when they used to sling it all over the field.
Maybe in the last 30. We'll say maybe in the last 30 years.
Maybe they didn't put the record because Jimmy Jordan. I can remember personally him throwing about 5 on us, and that I can remember. I went blank after that.
If I say anything, this was it was just an all-out great performance. Just 6 total touchdowns, 177 passing yards, and 5 different players for the Lions scoring touchdowns. I said it last week. It's how you come out. Will you be the first ones to score? Will you be the first ones to get that first defensive stop in the series? And they sure enough did so. Leon's going to have a bye week now to get ready for a good Port St. Joe team, and then hopefully build up some more confidence as they get ready for Lincoln real soon.
Yep. Moving on. We just another lopsided win. Bay jumped all over North Bay Haven, 55-6.
Ouch.
Chipley Downs Rutherford 39-26. Rams still looking for that first win. Tigers undefeated out there in Chipley. Franklin County remains undefeated on the year with a big win over FAMU DRS 35-0, going into Bragg and pulling out a win for Coach Cooper and company. Port St. Joe all over Liberty County 45-7. McClay a big winner over Mariana 33-7. Madison County hammers Swanee 49-14. Sneeze all over Graceville, absolutely blanking the Tigers 54-0. Bluntstown, a monster win over Bozeman, a Bozeman team that was hot. But, Bluntstown proved to be the difference maker as they take it 57-13. Lafayette, a big winner over Hamilton County, 47-22. Weewa jumped all over Vernon, 40-6. And finally, a close ball game between Walton and Holmes County as Walton edges the Blue Devils 19-18.
Another close one.
We haven't seen Holmes County in this position in a few years where
they lost by 1 point last week.
Yeah.
And then the week before that, I think it was 2.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, I know coach is pulling his hair out, man. Come on. Let's
ask yourself the question, how much more can you take?
I think they missed the extra points or something because that's wild.
Yeah, Florida High Falls to Hawthorne. We just talked about that one, 33-27. Columbia goes down into Tampa and handles Hillsborough 39-0. Osceola Christian falls by 1 to Trenton, a tough loss for the Warriors down in Trenton on the road as they fall 20-21. Godby, this one was tied in the fourth. And then I believe early in the fourth quarter, it was tied 28-all. And then Pensacola Catholic came out and fired off 2 quick scores. And that was all she wrote as Godby falls on the road in another close game, 28-42 to Pensacola Catholic. Cougars still looking for that elusive first win. Lincoln, man, we talked about this one pretty extensively, and man, on the road in Nice, and Nice is for real. They were absolutely dominant against the Trojan. Tough loss for Lincoln as they fall to Nice on the road, 47-10. We just got to finish talking about NFC over Indian Rocks Christian, 8-7. Taylor County, how about them Bulldogs? Undefeated on the year. As they take care of business against Dixie County, 54-18, and then Freeport. Man, this one was a close one.
Wow.
Freeport, this was entertaining as they pulled out a huge monster win on the road against Northview. And don't look out now, but the Bulldogs are on fire right now as they get a big win on the road, 48-43.
Mark, they were behind in this game. I thought they were going to lose, and they must have really exploded in the second half in
Turned
fourth
into
quarter.
a shootout. I mean, look at that. Another Big 12 like game.
But yeah, week number 3 in the books. Let's keep it rolling. Let's go ahead and jump into week number 4. Man, matchups abounded. Man, there's some good ones on the slate for this week. Let's go ahead and talk about it. We got some teams that are taking some much needed rest. Going to take a chance and kind of heal up a little bit. But man, let's go ahead and jump into it. A big one here in the capital city. Rickards taking on Childs.
You got
a different flavor if it was last week, but now you got to take some things into consideration.
Hey, man, I look for this to be an exciting football game. Two teams, one is explosive offense, the other one is solid defense. That's the kind of matchups you want. And I think that after what happened last week, Coach Lewis, I hadn't checked up on him. He was hurt in a JV game, so he didn't get a chance to be on the sideline. He was up in the stands. But I need to check up on him. That's my fault. But this is a tough game for Ricketts.
Yeah, I like this matchup. Really, for me, it says like one team's solid defense, which I feel that is Childs, is going to truly be tested with a high level offense by Rickards. I think Rickards is the faster team, truly, respectfully speaking. But this is a good test for Coach Reagan's and his Childs Timberwolves. Also, Mark, question: where is this game being played on Friday? Is it going to be at Gene Cox Stadium, or
it's going to be at Cox? It's definitely going to be at Cox. I don't see it being anywhere else.
Nobody else is playing at Gene Cox as well.
No, this one I have for Friday. Let me double check the schedule.
Just to be sure, because I know there's always that Thursday game or that Friday, and then whether or not
Friday night. So, and then because Lincoln is off, and I believe Godby's on the road. I think this one is going to be at Cox. This is going to be a prime time showdown.
Well, look at that. This is the chance for also Timberwolf Nation to kind of sell out that home side. And I know that the Wolfpack section, those students, man, they're going to be riled up for this one, man. It's going to be really exciting. Look forward to it. This will be a tough one to see who I choose between these two.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, mostly because I think that Childs, again, with the momentum, from being able to get a big win at home and then another one, a big win on the road, they're finding who their playmakers are, and I think for Rickards, this is going to be one where this is a tough loss against Mosley and then a tough loss on the road at Eastside. This is going to be one where the Raiders are going to have to key in on playing a complete game, not letting anyone hang around. I think if they're able to get Kelly out in space, he can really do some damage with his legs. A lot of what Rickards, in my opinion, they just need to be able to lock down defensively and get off the field on third down. If they can manage to do that, they can probably be able to take the edge in this game. But for Childs, man, you just can't sleep on them. They're gonna key in. They understand. In my opinion, they've probably done an excellent job keying in on their opponents and kind of I would say looking at the Wakulla matchup, they really kind of keyed in on what the weaknesses were in the Wakulla defense, picking their spots, knowing, kind of mixing it up between running pass. And so for Rickards, they're not going to be able to have a similar showing against where you're keying in on the run and then you're letting the seam route get behind you. They're going to have to really play balanced football on defense. But for Childs, there's opportunity here, and I think sometimes you don't want to catch a team in wounded animal mode, where it's just like you don't know what they might do. But for Childs, there's definitely opportunity here. You can't sleep on the Timberwolves in this matchup.
Well, it's going to be a difficult matchup, I think, for Childs anyway, because they gave up 400 yards in the air last week, and coming into that's Ricketts' strength is to throwing the football. And if if I'm coaching against them, I'm trying to exploit that. That's something they got to fix between now and Friday, and it should be a heck of a matchup. And the question going to be, can Ricketts stop Childs from scoring? That's
Yep.
going to be the matchup. I think that's the most important part of the game. I don't think they can stop Ricketts from scoring, but can Ricketts stop them? And that's the key.
Could be another shootout if, just like the Mosley game, if they're not careful.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of intrigue to this one, but let's keep it rolling. Bluntstown and Port St. Joe. This is a huge one, in my opinion. Bluntstown, man, this what can't this team do? This is where you literally can pick your poison. They have so many athletes all over the field, and the defense is just playing outstanding. They are, in my opinion, they're just imposing their will on teams right now. Um, Through the first two games, I think it's very telling. But I mean, just the dominance. They're literally getting to a point where they are pulling the starters off the field in the middle of the third quarter and letting some of the younger guys in on the action. That's how far, in my, that's just how dominant they've been through the first two games. But Port St. Joe has really, and you know, you got to go back to last week. Last week was kind of a special week for them because it had been a year since they lost one of their teammates who collapsed suddenly the year before. I think it was Chance Gaynor. Um, and you know, this is a team that's playing inspired. A lot of what they've been able to do is just really just come out and hit people in the mouth. And for those who don't know, this is just a rivalry game. You can throw records out. These two schools, they historically speaking, they do not get along when it comes to football. It's going to be smash mouth. And to me, I think Bluntstown they have some depth. And typically, you know, when both of these teams meet, it's just about how many fresh legs you can get on the field because each play is going to be going 100 miles per hour. But I wouldn't be surprised if this one's a little bit closer than what people expect. But man, at Bowl Stadium, you know, this is one of those where, you know, Bluntstown is definitely going to be licking their chops for the next opponent that comes in. I think Port St. Joe is going to have their hands full. But with them being 2-0 undefeated, they're playing some very inspired ball right now.
Mark, they got Bluntstown probably has more talent than most high schools around this area all over the field. It's going to be a tough task for Port St. Joe to slow them down. It's going to be very difficult. I think that if Port St. Joe can keep it close, they got a shot. But the first two quarters of that game going to be very important for Port St. Joe. Keeping Bluntstown under control, slowing them down.
For all we know, this is going to be quite the defensive battle. It may be scoreless in that first half if both teams are really going at it. Like you gentlemen say that they will. The history, the depth that these two have in their matchup. Ruled football, man. You just got to love it. And I like hearing about matchups like this one, especially both teams coming off huge wins, dropping 40 to 50 plus points. But I don't think we'll get that in this matchup. Instead, we will definitely have one of those signature gridiron classics.
Yeah, I think that the most telling thing about this is not going to be athlete for athlete, but how the Tiger Sharks are going to try and scheme this one. And this is just going to be one of those where you're really going to see what they can dial up. But man, Coach Wagner, since arriving on campus at Bluntstown, has been able to get this team galvanized. They are rolling. It will be a very hard fought ball game. I think in the first two quarters, like you said, Coach Cofield will be very telling.
Yeah, Marcus. Looking at Bluntstown in the past with the players they got, that is going to be a tough task for Port St. Joe. You got a team that's explosive with athletes all over the field, and you got a solid team with Port St. Joe coming in, and I'm kind of excited. I hope it's on the network so I can get to see it.
Yeah, this will be an interesting matchup. I definitely like the way that that Port St. Joe has been playing coming out this season, but yeah, this is going to be a tough game going into Bowl Stadium. with Bluntstown playing at the level as they are right now. Let's keep it going. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the next one. I see the comments. Hold on, we're gonna get to some Jay County in just a minute. But yeah, this is going to be, in my opinion, this is going to be interesting week of football because we have a few teams in the area that are taking some much needed rest. But as we get into this one's going to be a doozy. Madison County, Columbia.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Lake City, Columbia is 3-0, and the Madison County Cowboys sitting at 1-2. But Madison coming off their first win, a huge win over Suwanee, just absolutely dominated the Bulldogs. And man, for the Cowboys, let's just take a look at their schedule too. It does not let up over the next couple of weeks. Madison County, Columbia at home. Then they travel to Bay. That'll be another interesting matchup. Then Pace, Reigns out of Jacksonville, Florida High, Apopka and Lecanto. This is going to be it's very similar to Florida High. This is a murderer's row, but
that's Madison's schedule.
Yeah.
Yes.
What
yes.
is the problem when you win like Madison? Nobody wants to play it, and you got to play up. Nobody in your division going to schedule you if they don't have to. And I know it's tough, Coach Price Harris. They're not going to play it, and I don't really blame them. Why get beat up before you have to?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the way it is when it comes to. I mean, I know they're in the rural division, and it's tough for the other schools, knowing good and well that they're going to run into Madison in the playoffs. Who that team is, I don't know. But whoever they are out there, they know what is to be expected when the state playoff comes. In order to achieve that ultimate goal of playing in a state championship, you're going to have to cross paths with Madison County. But in this matchup right here, I'm excited the history between these two, because I feel like Madison County has played Columbia on a regular basis. Am I right, Mark? These two have played each other quite frequently in the past few years.
Yeah.
So it's quite the matchup. I don't know if it's a rivalry or not.
This is a historic rivalry. This is
okay.
One thing I like to I call it the mid-north central Florida division or whatever, but between Columbia, Fort White, Taylor County, Madison County, there's just an intense, especially between Suwanee and Columbia. That one goes back I don't know how many years. But with Fort White, ironically being the newer of the schools, it really, in my opinion, I think it's one of those where it's just like you have to go back probably 40, 50 years at how long these schools have been playing each other.
Wow. So they are up there along with the other historical rivalries, especially like the oldest in the country and the oldest in the state, which I know is Hardy and DeSoto, second Avon Park and Sebring. And I wouldn't be surprised if Columbia and Madison County are somewhere in the top 5, maybe even top 10.
Now, I don't know, as far as oldest in the state, I think that's between Bluntstown and Liberty County. That's a 100-year-old rivalry. I do know that. But that's like another rabbit hole we could go down. But I do know that like there's definitely some age to this one.
I'm excited.
All right, let me see if I can pull up this next one because we got to go ahead and talk about it. The people been asking about it. We can't let the people down. Let me go ahead and get this one popped up on the screen here. So coming up, we have a big one. And it may not be the biggest one, but this definitely got some intrigue to it. Here, let me see if I can get the equipment to work right.
The anticipation is building up, ladies and gentlemen. We're excited to see what this next matchup
we're
going to be talking about.
Jefferson, Trenton.
Wow, Trenton 3-0.
Well, we had a chance to kind of see Trenton do a little bit. And Miss Jones, we feel you on that one. It is a must win for the Tigers and Coach Bright. A lot of what this is not the same. To me, this is I think what we're seeing is the beginnings of a brand new Jefferson County program. But this one intrigues me because of how close Alcilla Christian played Trenton just a week before. This could be one where if the Tigers can pull things together, they already have a big road win already. If they can if they can, in one of in my opinion, you play up, so you can kind of see a different level of competition. But I think they're very evenly matched with the Trenton Tigers on this one.
This should be an interesting matchup. I mean, Jefferson County uh, in the past was a powerhouse. Trenton, more recently, a powerhouse. And I think Coach Bright wanted, this would be a good start to a positive time for his team this year. And they can match themselves. They can measure where they are as a program on how well they play this game. It should be an interesting matchup. I'm curious. I have no idea how it's going to turn out. But I'm curious on the matchup, how the game, the ebbs and flow of the game, and what would Jefferson do? They took a bad beating last week, and they're coming in to play Trent. Schedule don't get no easier.
I think for me, it's how evenly matched the teams could potentially be. Jefferson, I think, has the ability to really have a strong ground game. I think we saw flashes of it against McClay. They really showed a lot of grit in that come from behind win they had earlier against what was that, Lighthouse Christian Academy earlier. The 28-26 win really showed a lot, especially on the road. So this is a team that has not played a home game yet. So this will be, out there in Monticello. If I was there, I try to see if I can get me some fried gizzards. That's one of the things I love. But yeah, it's definitely it's definitely going to be kind of an even matchup here. It's across the board. There's some interesting games on the schedule, but this is the one that just kind of piqued my interest a little bit. But Jefferson, I think if they can be able to kind of get the kids settled down, I know Coach Bright is definitely one of those guys to try and, you can tell what he's trying to put together. The details matter. Talked about how his kids are, really trying to key in and watch film. This is a team that's not going to quit. I think that this one could be closer than what most people expect. But I'm looking forward to the game. We'll see how it turns out.
Is it a home game?
Yeah, it's a home game for Jefferson.
Yes, nice. That's great. And I said this a while back in week one that, scoreboards say one thing, but how your team performs on the field is another. And I think in the highlights I have seen from Jefferson County, this is a team that does not quit. They keep playing no matter what. And that's exciting. And I think this is their first home game. And if that's the case too, oh yes, definitely expect to see a different version of the Jefferson County Tigers show up on Friday night, especially if it's a home game.
Yeah, the next three for the Tigers look like Trenton at home, Vernon at home, and then at Hamilton County.
Well, they can get something going. Definitely.
So let's take a look at what's coming up next. We got NFC Taylor County. NFC Taylor County. This is going to be a big one. Really man, when you look at the way Taylor County has been playing, they've been playing extremely inspired ball right now. NFC is definitely going to have their hands full, but this is one where both of these teams have matched up. This is a little bit of a rivalry game. They've been on each other's schedules for years now. I think every year they find a way to schedule each other and get that game in. It's always a fun one, but in years past, the Eagles have been on the dominant side, and now Taylor County's they're on a massive upswing right now. But again, anytime you go into a road environment, you want to bring your A game, and I think for Taylor County, they're definitely going to be showing up with bells on.
Man, going in the NFC, they don't have any pity. One of the former coaches for Taylor for NFC, I think a couple of them coached at Taylor County, and I think this is one heck of a matchup for anybody. NFC used to beat them pretty regular. I don't think that's going to happen this week. I think I think NFC gonna have to come with that. When you talking about the A, B, C, and D game, they gotta have it all to
Wow.
play with this. Because talking to Coach Braswell at the beginning of the season, he was excited about what he had coming back. He had D1 linemen on his team. He got prospects all over the place. So
Oh
this
yeah,
team,
there's talent down there in Perry.
I
It's
mean, he
Oh
got
yeah,
lots
some
of
man.
talent,
talent down there.
and that this team is on an upswing, a massive upswing, as you say. Man, this could be. It's a tough matchup. I wouldn't want to be in this. I like to be on the, play somebody that's not on the upswing. And see, they got it in for. It's not gonna be like we feel sorry for you. Y'all beat us a lot of times in the past. We just need our turn now.
Yeah, that's normally how these common matchups are. If you're a team that plays each other on a regular, and if they had your number for so long, and this season just feels different, which in this case for Taylor County, I'm like, 3-0. I'm feeling good right now. I'm ready to like go out there and play a team that's just made it challenging for us for the past several years. So definitely, and this game is in Perry, is down in Perry.
No,
It's
it's right here in the capital city.
Oh, okay.
This will be a good one.
So this will be a good one and a good test for Taylor County yet again. To prove that they can win in a very tough environment. I mean, they did it in JD Jones Stadium against Wakulla, and honestly, gentlemen, sometimes you never like that field at NFC. It can be quite challenging as well, especially when the crowd that they have is very close to the field than what is seen on highlight reels.
I have personal experience. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, Taylor County is going to be making a couple of trips into the capital city. They've got McClay in 3 weeks, and then, of course, NFC this Friday. And then they round out the season with Leon at Leon, and so that'll be a good one. But for the Bulldogs, this is one of those. You look at their roster, and for NFC, we already know about Rozier and just his efforts on offense and defense. Everything appears to be kind of running through him, but man, for Taylor County, it's literally going to be pick your poison. They've got playmakers everywhere. And a lot of what I've seen so far between just understanding how, the running game works with Glanton, the passing game with Boggs, and just understanding how Glanton has really been just a dual threat guy, leading the team. I think he has 5 total touchdowns right now as the team's leading rusher, averaging 100 yards a game on the ground. This is a scary team. And I think when it comes playoff time, they're going to be making a lot of noise come postseason. This is a team that's also getting it done on the defensive side as well. I think they've generated like 6 or 7 turnovers so far this year. NFC is definitely going to have their hands full with the Bulldogs. Let's go ahead and jump back into the remainder of the schedule. There are interesting games all over. Let's take a look at the rest of the slate. South Walton hosting Arnold. Battle on the beach once again. 2 schools that are really close in proximity, but South Walton off and rolling off to a hot start sitting at 2-0. Arnold at 1-1. Sneeze hosting FAMU DRS, and the Pirates don't look now, but they're sitting at 2-1, hosting winless FAMU High. And for Sneeze, this is definitely going to be another. This could be one of those games that ends up being lopsided if the FAMU Rattlers are not in control and come out swinging. Battle of the winless teams: 0-3 Swanee versus 0-3 Godby down in Live Oak. For Godby, they've been able to kind of really show that they've been a really good football team through 3 quarters. It's just finishing the game. And for Swanee, they're still looking, in my opinion, they're still looking for their playmakers.
And this is a district game, right? Am I right? This is a district matchup. So something's got to give.
Classifications, we're getting into district week.
Yeah.
Franklin County hosting Liberty County. Seahawks hot right now, 3-0. And if you remember, this game last year was probably one of the more entertaining ones. It went back and forth, and Seahawks were able to pull it out on the road in Bristol. But this year they'll be hosting down, and that game will be in East Point on the beach. Seahawks taking on the Bulldogs, who are sitting at 1-2. Holmes County winless, and they will be taking on winless Rutherford. at home. And man, for Holmes County, this has been just feel kind of snake bit where they're just not able to get over the hump. But they will be facing a Rutherford team. I know that will be very hungry for a win. So
somebody's gonna win.
yeah, somebody's gonna grab their first victory this week.
Somebody's
ONT Mariana hosting Bozeman at home, and the Bucks have been playing pretty inspired ball, even though they dropped one to the juggernaut that is Bluntstown right now. This is still a very decent ball team, and I think Mariana will have their hands full. We'll see what the Bulldogs can do against the Bucks on Friday night. We already just got finished talking about NFC taking on Taylor County at home in the Eagles' Nest. Vernon winless taking on Chipley, and man, the Tigers, man, you gotta look out. They are undefeated on the year, sitting at 3-0. This one could get out of hand fast. Cottondale taking on Freeport. This is another game that could be out of hand fast. Freeport.
No, Mark, that's a Cottondale not that bad. No, they're not that bad. They lost a lot of players. They're
definitely be a good one to watch.
It'll be a good matchup. I mean, hey, we're gonna see. I don't want to give Freeport, because I thought last week they were gonna blow the team out, and they battled. Had to come back and win. This should be an interesting matchup.
Winless Graceville hosting winless North Bay Haven, but North Bay Haven has been playing they too have been playing a lot of close games lately against some upper level opponents. Remember this one from last year. This one was an entertaining ball game. Gadsden County will be taking the trip across state lines, take on Coffee County in Georgia against the Trojans and Mike Coe and company. Other games from the area, just got finished talking about Jefferson County hosting Trenton. Hamilton County taking the trip out to West Nassau to take on West Nassau out in just north of Jacksonville. Alcilla Christian at home against Rocky Bayou. Rocky Bayou winless on the year. Alcilla Christian sitting at 1-1. Lafayette undefeated taking on Chiefland. This one I got my eye on that game.
Hey
that's
man,
a good one.
You talk about some good gizzards, man. That game gonna have gizzards and hamburgers. They're pretty good. I used to go around and check out these games. I just wanted to get that in. They got some great concessions in these places.
Man, do all these places in those areas of Florida have such
good food? All the good food at the good concessions, they are in the tucked away places. Just if you don't know, I'm not sleeping on anybody in an urban center. Yeah, you got good concessions, but it just certain things unless you go out there.
Just goes to show Tallahassee has to step up.
Since I went there, I don't know if those concessions are still doing the same thing, but man, when I used to work for another company, I used to go all over the place, and I used to try. I was going to put up a best concession breakdown top 10.
That's Coach. You could be the Anthony Bourdain of high school football in North Florida. You could go around eating in different places and just rank them all. McClay crosses state lines going into Valwood to take on the Valiants. McClay is 3-0, taking on a very tough Valiant team and sitting at 2-1. This will be a tough road test for McClay. This will be their second trip away from Frank Shaw Field. Mosley heading down I-10. Well, not down I-10, but they'll be heading down out west to take on Navarre, who Mosley got a big win, a road win against Rickers. They'll look for to get another big road win against the Raiders out in Navarre. And then rounding out the slate is 2-0 Walton taking on 2-1 West Florida, another game out in the Pensacola region. And that will do it. Gentlemen, man, we got great slate of games coming up this week. It's definitely going to be a good kind of scenario going on. We got away from what was week number 3. All the beatdowns were handed out. I think we'll have some more close matchups this week.
Yeah, it's an exciting time, getting into this time of the year where games are going to have more meaning. Of course, I'm actually looking forward to that Swanee versus Godby matchup because somebody's got to win, and it's a district game, and no better way to get your first win than a district game. So I'm going to keep an eye out on that one. I might even stream it if I can.
Oh, I thought you was finna fly from Texas to the game. I didn't know.
You know, there'll be eventually a game that I fly out for. I don't know which one it will be, whether it's my
Ricketts,
alma mater or
does
my
Ricketts play
hometown.
Leon?
No, we don't play Rickards in the regular season. That was
Oh man,
yeah.
oh man,
Yeah, we got to get back to hosting the historic. That's a historic rivalry game.
man,
We got
that
to
was
get
a
back.
Yeah,
big.
it
It's a,
was our signature. That was our signature last game of the season for my final 2 years when I had moved up and finished high school in Tallahassee. Same thing for my brother when he was playing for Leon and being a part of the program. We definitely, I feel like a lot of the local Tallahassee schools would love to face each other again on a regular basis. But you know, with the things that have happened over the past, like going on 10 years now, with the FHSAA restructuring the classifications and schools, you know, in the scheduling and stuff, it's made it complicated and hard. But I think somewhere down the line in the future, we'll get back to that again, all in
no.
due time.
I remember. Let me tell you, I'm gonna date myself. I remember the first time Ricketts ever beat Leon, 1984.
Now, were they the Raiders then or the Redskins?
Yeah, they were the Redskins. But
Ah,
Ricketts
okay.
is Ricketts. It don't matter what the mascot is.
No. But I mean, I had to respectfully ask
And I
that
was there
question.
when Garvey beat him for the first time now. And that was in 1976. So teams didn't beat Leon back in the day. They dominated the area. And then
Yeah.
slowly but surely things turned around. I'm gonna have to, give them some credit.
We need to
And
have we need to do an episode on some historic. Bring out the old record books.
We need
I
our own
thought you
version.
was trying to be funny, calling me historic. I just happen to be a little older than everybody else on the
Hey,
show.
hit dog will holler. I'm not.
That's that, coach.
I'm not gonna call you old.
Yeah, and if
But
it's
that
if
will
it's
do it for week number 3. It's going to be a good week slate of games for week number 4. Definitely want to keep our eye on everything. We will be recapping everything with the scoreboard show on Friday nights at 11 o'clock. But other than that, we'll catch everybody else back here on Wednesday nights for the Extra Point podcast. Everything covered from high school football, from I-75 all the way back to the Panama City Beach, Emerald Coast area. We got it covered. So for my tag team partners, Eddie Quinkins Jr., Coach Cofield, I'm Mark Adams. This is 4 Quarters Online and the Extra Point. We'll catch everybody next Wednesday.